to talk about this huge breaking news that Russell Wilson has, Seahawks have reportedly agreed to trade Russell Wilson to the Broncos this morning. We also have Ian Furness, Fox 13 Sports Ian Furness with us, joining us here. Ian, good morning. Wow. I mean, what a breaking story this morning in the world of Seattle sports. What's going through your head right now?
I'm stunned. I'm saddened as well. I've got a lot of different emotions, having covered him from the second he was drafted here. And, you know, I think back to being at his first game in Arizona and standing there in the end zone with our photographers, with Steve Schrammick and I, and we're watching that final pass to Doug Baldwin go incomplete. He almost had a miracle comeback in that first game, to the Super Bowl win, to talking to him, you know, one-on-one for our Seahawks game day post-game show in Houston just a few months ago, where he told me, and I pressed him on it point blank, yes, I want to be in Seattle. So I'm stunned. I thought that it could happen, but I thought we were a year away from it happening.
I mean, it does. It feels like the end of an era. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ian, we were just talking to Alyssa. You expected him to retire here, we could hang his number up, retire his number.
Right.
What does this do to the locker room, these guys who, especially the young guys who looked up to him, what does it do to the locker room? Who takes over as that leader? Because he was so much that, in the locker room as well as on the field.
Brian, that's a great question. I think that the dynamics of that room, now it's a little different for us because we're not in there like we have been, but just from being around the team as Aaron and Alyssa and I are, and kind of watching the dynamics, the quarterback's an interesting guy. He's, when this became a thing a couple of years ago, when Richard Sherman brought it up, and the special treatment that Russell gets and everything else, well, every quarterback in the league gets special treatment. He was a leader more in the huddle and more on the field as opposed to the locker room. The dynamic involved here is different because with Russell Wilson, you had a player that could gain a level of belief in the entire team when he stepped in the huddle. He had an ability to do that I haven't seen in a lot of guys, and not a lot of quarterbacks have that. At the end of the day, they traded a quarterback that was a franchise quarterback. That does not happen in this league. I mean, the magnitude of this trade cannot be understated. This just doesn't happen. Now, Mark Rodgers, his agent, is a problem. I spoke to him a few weeks ago. He is one of those guys that I think just he and John Schneider and the organization were not going to get along. The $50 million that Aaron Rodgers signed per year today, I'm sure became an issue, but this isn't the kind of deal that got put together because Aaron Rodgers signed over the last couple of hours. One thing to keep in mind, I have a feeling, and I'm not sure what Curtis said, he's also got great insight, but I have a feeling that when they were at the Combine last week, they found a guy. They saw a guy, and they found a guy to play the position. I am convinced of that. Drew Lock is not a long-term answer at quarterback, not even close. I think they have a guy in mind, whoever that might be, but I think they have a guy in mind that they saw at the Combine last week, and that's what made this deal possible.
Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Seahawks are getting 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks. You talk about, guys that maybe they're seeing at the Combine. Is there anybody out there, a quarterback, that you're seeing that the Seahawks might want to take in the first round?
Brian, I didn't even pay attention. They didn't have a first-round pick. they didn't have a first-round pick. There's no reason to watch. Who cares?
Yeah. You're so right.
Listen, when I say that, when they drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, and Curtis was with me, I know he's just on with you a minute ago, we were sitting there at the VMAC, and we were doing radio and TV, and we're waiting, and they had just signed Matt Flynn to a contract. We all thought Matt Flynn was the guy. They drafted Russell Wilson, and to a person, and anybody that says different now, they're lying. We all said, what in the heck are they doing? Like, why are they drafting this little short quarterback from Wisconsin that used to play at North Carolina State that wants to be a baseball player? He was way under the radar, and completely under the radar. And that's how the Seahawks operate. So who are they going to draft? Who do they find? I couldn't tell you, but I'm going to tell you right now, my opinion, just an opinion, and maybe an educated guess knowing how they operate, I think they have a guy, and I think that they know who that guy is. But for us to guess, there's like 20 quarterbacks, and it's like a lotto picket. Maybe you can get it right.